Hello, everybody. Dr. Lonnie Stewart here from the Healthcare Education Transformation Podcast. Are you a physical therapy student about to start studying for the National Physical Therapy Examination? Or maybe you're a professor, a program director, or clinical instructor who teaches DPT students preparing for the NPTE? Either way, we would recommend checking out our sponsor, NPTE Final Frontier, and the community they've built around preparing for and succeeding on the NPTE. That exam and the preparation that goes along with it can be long, tedious, difficult, and stress inducing, but it doesn't have to be. NPTE Final Frontier has the tactics and resources to help address all of the usual barriers. They even have scholarships to help with NPTE study courses, FSBPT registration fees, and even research opportunities. And if that's not enough, they're even donating to the very first annual HET Podcast Scholarship to be awarded at the end of every year. Go to npteff.com for all of the details and use code HET for 10% off all purchases. Links to both the NPTE Final Frontier and their scholarship options are available in the show notes. And now, let's get ready to learn.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Teach Me Something Tuesday episode of the Healthcare Education Transformation Podcast. Today is a third part of a mini series on student engagement. And again, I kind of broke these three parts up because I feel like they're good for student engagement, absolutely. And it's the overwhelming umbrella and theme of these three. However, I feel like all three of them will be helpful in improving your classroom tactics, your teaching, your learning, and really just all aspects of education. So this third and final part to this mini series on student engagement is called Creating a Safe Discussion Space. And there's a lot of ways we do that. But one in particular that I want to focus on is really about coming up with almost like a community contract or compact. Instead of like setting a list of rules, I find like I have lists of rules for my household, and obviously that does nothing. My kids don't listen to any of those. But when you're dealing with students, especially adult learners, rules can kind of feel a little bit like stuffy and childish. And I feel like if you involve the students in creating the contract or the compact, they'll not only know what the expectations are, but they'll feel comfortable with them because they created them, which should allow for more engaging discussions, right? So essentially by creating this community compact, you're basically coming up with a set of agreed upon behavioral standards for the class. And this compact really will spell out to everybody how they're going to act with each other throughout the entire course, right? Especially when things get a little heated or tense. There's some emotionally charged discussions. That's good. We want that, but we also want people to feel safe, know that it's a safe learning environment, and that they should feel safe to share things and not be ridiculed or attacked, right? That'll kind of put your students more at ease. They'll feel like they can share their perspective without any judgment, because that's what this is for. This is to create a judgment-free zone so that people will share. You have to have that comfort level. You have to have that safety zone, that nest, as Will Ferrell calls it in old school, right? The safety nest. One of the things that you can do to start this compact is really just start with your own simple list of standards, and how we're going to approach both success and failure and come at it with an attitude of gratitude. You've heard that, I'm sure, before. But also be conscious of other levels of, anxiety or stress that could be caused to other students based on prior experiences, because not all of us have the same experience. And that's important to know about, right? And to give credit to. I basically try to give them, some discussion prompts, things to think about, things to pair together, things to share, and really kind of let them guide it. And early on in the semester, the first course or two, really the class, first class or two, really help them create this thing and come up with it. And I'm just there as a shepherd or a guide, really just kind of motivating them to continue with their thoughts and ideas and what's comfortable and safe to them and how we're going to go about doing that and enforcing that. And you can even use questions, prompt questions that are very similar to how we would start an inclusion or a diversity or equity group, right? What do you need to feel comfortable or to make the learning environment inclusive, equitable, and safe? And then let them just discuss. We'll start putting up some buzzwords, some keywords, and really come up with what that's going to look like, so that everybody involved knows what the expectations are. Once that's created, that email goes out to everybody so they all have it to refer to. Anything ever comes up, we can refer back to that compact. And I try to make a new one every semester with each course because a lot of times cohorts are different. Course classes are different, right? There's a different vibe, there's a different feeling to it. They just live and exist differently. So I like to try to think about each course and class and cohort independently, come at them as their own living, breathing organism, and then go deeper and kind of consider the students as like the cells of that organism. And each one of them are individual and different as well. Just the way that I kind of try to create that safe space. And I think if you kind of take all three of these little mini series that we've put together on student engagement and start implementing them into your teaching practice and your educational practice, you'll see student engagement go up. Right. And so if you have one of those classes that it's just again kind of quiet, they're not really saying much, they're not doing much, start implementing some of these things and just see how the dynamic changes. I hope that was helpful to you, and we will see you on the next one. Well, I hope that episode was entertaining as much as it was informational and educational. If you enjoyed this episode or any of our past episodes, we ask you to please subscribe to the podcast and leave us a rating and review. And please share out the episodes to those who you feel may be able to benefit from them. We also urge you to follow us on all social media platforms at HET Podcast and let us know what topics or experts you would like to hear from in future episodes. And just as a reminder, none of the information on today's show should be considered medical advice. It's simply infotainment or edutainment to help educate our audience. For medical advice, we always advise you to reach out to your preferred medical professionals, and we'll see you on the next show.